if you are not, and I'm speaking to the women here, if you are holding your man to this expectation of always succeeding and always being this perfect version of the masculine and always being able to provide and always, right? And you're withholding love in the moments where he is not that, well, first of all, that's putting conditions on your love.
Yes.
Right? And this isn't the way to love him even more deeply into his power.
Yo, lovers. Welcome to Sex, Love, and Everything in Between. We're the O'Neills. You're here with Meg and Jacob.
And this is the place we have really uncensored conversations about sex, intimacy, and relationships. We're super excited you're here. Enjoy this episode. Hi, beautiful humans.
What's up, lovers?
Welcome back.
Hey, lover.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm really good.
You pregnant?
Yeah, I'm getting there, aren't I? The belly is really popping. I feel in the last week, maybe week and a half, I've felt pregnant.
Yeah.
Where before that, I would just feel like before I was pregnant and then I'd look down and be like, oh, there's a belly. Where now I'm like, oof.
Yeah.
Just breathing sometimes and moving around.
It's the best. I love
Making
it.
love the other night. I was just so slow. I was like, oh, I got to roll.
No, can't be that position for too long. Oh, no. It was quite funny.
I don't even know what, we did say that last night. We need to find
some pregnancy Kama Sutra.
Yeah, I'm sure it's out there. We need some position inspo.
Yeah.
Because our current repertoire isn't very pregnancy friendly.
It's not very pregnancy friendly at all. I'm sure there's a whole niche for pregnancy porn out there.
Everyone's probably thinking what are their positions now?
Yeah.
We'll get imagine back to our non-pregnancy friendly positions.
Yeah. Before pregnancy or during pregnancy. And then after pregnancy, we'll have a whole 3 different styles, I'm sure.
Styles of sex. Yeah. Oh,
we won't be having sex once we have a baby. That is off the cards.
Did I tell you? Well, you were offline. Did I tell you about the pregnancy Q&A I did?
You didn't? No, you did, yes.
One of the questions that I got was, is there any fears coming up around how your relationship is going to change? And, I've spoken this to you before, that there's a part of me that is kind of wanting to have so much sex now because I'm, I don't know what it's going to look like when we have a baby. So I'm like, let's make the most of it, because underneath that is a part of me that thinks maybe we'll never have sex again. Yep. And I know that's not true, but there's this part of me that is really realizing that the way we have sex is really going to change. And that's, And I expressed that, and the amount of women that message me saying the best sex of my life happened after children, and the sex just gets better and better and better. People saying, it gets really fun and creative, and you have to have quickies in the kitchen while the kids are watching the wheels. So I look forward to quickies in the kitchen with you.
Yes, hot potato. Yeah, awesome. Well,
so I loved that. That makes me really excited that our sex life is only going to get.
Yeah.
I still want to have heaps of sex before we have this baby. I think I've been really horny lately.
Horny.
Yes. Second trimester energy.
Yeah. You've got all that. I don't know what second trimester energy is, but it is a horny energy. Yeah. It is devourer. That's the season of devouring. That's what I feel from you. Bring it on. But we're not going to talk about pregnancy today. We're going to save that for another day. We're going to talk about me. This is all about me today. More so about men, but also about this idea of I feel that we've really spoken into the I'm too much wound for women. And for men, it's not that. It's not the I'm too much. It's the I'm not enough. And that's, sorry, you go.
I was just going to say, what you mean by that is so many women in relationship have this, come into relationships and a condition to feel this fear of I'm too much. Like my emotions are too much. My desires are too much. We have this fear of being too much. And, you know, a lot of the time this shows up even in our first relationships. I often talk about the cool girl. Like, I don't need anything. I don't want anything. We try and push down our desires, and where the deepest yearning under that is to be in a relationship where a man accepts and embraces and celebrates and holds space for all aspects of us, the full fucking spectrum. And yeah, we speak a lot about that on this show and on the podcast.
Yeah,
and the equivalent of that for a man, you know, is this feeling of I'm not enough. I'm not going to be enough in this relationship.
Which has us overreaching and trying to do more to seem as though we've got it all together. It's this idea of like, I need to be a certain level or to be worthy of love.
Yes.
I need to have this, and this, and I can never not have this, because if I don't have this, I will be replaced, or I won't be good enough for my partner, therefore she will leave me.
And I've actually been speaking to, you know, quite a few of my clients recently have expressed, and I'm sure there's women listening to this that have had partners or ex-partners express this into the relationship of, I'm scared I'm not going to be enough for you. I'm scared I won't ever meet your needs. I'm scared I won't ever, you know, be enough or do enough for you. Or I don't ever feel enough for you. I'm sure you've experienced this kind of language or potentially even witnessed your man in feeling that before.
That can be such a, what I've found and what we've deepened in our relationship is like, it requires a different type of approach to love a man in this, to approach this. And this is not just celebrating him and being like, yeah, you've done the little things right, or yes, go for it. It's a very much it requires a level of tenderness. It requires a level of, wouldn't say discernment as much as like compassion, or like some, like, I just think of like tender, loving kindness. Like, it's like he's already judging himself and beating himself up enough to like, to give him, like, to be what he needs is to bring through the gentleness, the kindness, the compassion that he isn't able to necessarily give himself based on the stories and beliefs that he's got around what it means to be a man.
Yes. And just to give our listeners or watchers, viewers, a bit of context in where we're going, we're really going to be talking about how do we honor this wound within our men? How do we really hold space for it? And how do we support them to heal that within the container of our relationship? You know, how do we love them really well through this wound and into deeper expansion and into deeper levels of power in themselves? Were you going to say something then?
No, I just think that, yeah, this is such an important conversation because of how much it affects me. Like how much, like even like last week and this whole year has been brought up another layer of worthiness or this wound around like the worthiness wound of like, I'm not good enough and I'm never going to be good enough and I have no idea how I'm ever going to be. If I ever, I'm just so, and I think that's the other thing is like, it's not just I'm not good enough. It's no matter what I do, I'll never be good enough. And that can just, it can really poison a man's life and lead him to be what happens with me personally is I close off and I get riddled with shame and I get riddled with this fear and this guilt of like, I'm a piece of shit. And if everyone actually knew just how fucked up I was and just how bad I was and just how wrong I was about everything, no one would ever listen to me. No one would ever love me. And it's easy for people to say, well, that's not true. It's like, yeah, thank you. But also like it feels true to me because that's what I'm telling myself. And that's what I've told myself for many years. I think it's not as simple as saying, well, that's not true, mate. You're actually a good person. Or no, that's not true, my love. You're a good person. You do good work. And then you go back to whatever you were doing. It's about like being with what's beneath that and what part of him needs the attention as well. And the presence and the awareness. So you need someone to literally provide that loving awareness for that to come out and really just, be witnessed. Like that's such an important piece, being witnessed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I share a little bit about last week? Does that feel good?
Can I share just one thing? I was like trying to think, my mind went a little blank then.
There may be a series of long pauses throughout this one.
Not fully here today.
Between worlds.
No, I was just thinking for the women listening to this, because this episode is both for men and women, but what we really want to bring awareness to is that when you realize that your man is maybe carrying this wound of feeling, not enough, right? Having that awareness can just so deeply then shift the way we're showing up in the relationship and meeting them. For example, if we're realizing, oh, wow, sometimes they don't feel like they're, no matter what they do in our relationship, no matter how hard they work, no matter how much they do for our family, no matter how much they're, whatever it is, they truly don't feel like they can be enough or doing enough. Then if we then think about maybe the way that we're bringing ourselves to our partner, and if that's from this place of pointing out, hey, you haven't taken me on a date, hey, you never do this, hey, you're not like that guy on Instagram, hey, we can really see how that's just like pouring fucking salt on that wound, pouring acid on that wound, right?
Totally.
And so it doesn't mean as women that we have to push down our desires and become desireless or pretend we don't want anything in relationship. No, we can still want more from our man. We can still desire more dates. We can still desire, a deeper level of claim or whatever the desire might be. And it's about really moving out of this pattern of feeling like the only way to get that version of our man or receive that version of our man is through pointing out what he's not doing, right? And how he's not doing enough right now or being enough.
Yes.
And this is I'm sure we'll get deeper and deeper into what this looks like, but I just really want to bring that into the conversation right now because this is the practice. And beginning to really realize, I have compassion, just like I think that comparison is so important. When a man realizes that many women walk around with this deep fear of being too much, right? When she's feeling chaotic and all over the place, he's probably not going to say to her anymore, stop being crazy. Or like, you're just like, why are you being dramatic? Why are you being this? He's going to be like, oh, wow, that's probably going to be like pouring salt or acid on the wound for her. She's going to be like, I knew I was too much. I knew you could like, That's going to inflame that wound that she has. And similarly, it's saying for us as women, just like bringing this awareness in can totally shift the way we love on our man and can then totally shift the way we're receiving and what we're evoking from him. Because as women, heterosexual women, we truly have, I believe, the power to make or break our men, especially in these moments where that wound is activated. When a man is not feeling good enough, right? The way we're meeting him in a relationship can either break him further or it can fucking make him and transmute that wound and shift that wound deeply.
Yeah, it's literally healing that wound. Like it heals that part of him that has been there for as long as it's been there. Yeah, well said, my love. Aho, podcast done.
You were going to say share more around.
Just like, my experience of this, of like holding it down and feeling really powerful, and then all of a sudden not having a few slower weeks in business, having all of my shit come up around. And it came up not so much because business was slow for a couple of weeks, more so it was around, I don't know how I'm going to have a successful business and be a present, loving family man. And I don't know how to be both. So I was like in this indecisive, I don't know which one I can be. And that then beneath that was like, I'm not good enough to have it all. I'm not good enough to have both of these things. So one of them has to start to crumble. And the one that's more important to me is the family, not the business, because the business started crumbling. And that was where I started to feel the shame, like, oh God, I'm just going to go back to work. But then Meg won't love me because I've given up. And then she'll think that less of me because I'm not living my truth and following my vision. And then I was scared to come and talk to you about it because I'm like, well, if I do that, I remember when you said that I had a job that you wanted to get me out of that job, and it brought up all of these stories of like, you know, if I ever get a job and I'm not available to her 24/7, then I'm not going to be a present man. And all of these things just kept on like rattling around my head, that my whole body just went into a freeze, and I wasn't able to feel anything. Therefore, you could not feel me. And that all came to a head last week when I can't remember what happened, but I was just exhausted. I was exhausted, and I can't remember what we were doing, but I came in and this was it. It was like everything that I'm doing isn't working. I was trying to do everything. I'm trying to do the things in my business. I'm trying to do the things that I need to do and have breakthroughs and have conversations and make the money and make the sales and be in my vision, but nothing I was doing was landing. Nothing was getting traction. And I had to come to you and just be like, listen, I feel like I got to the place, and I didn't just come to you and be like, hey, I feel like a failure. It was like, I was literally like I could feel the part of me that had to like literally will myself into that conversation and be okay with whatever came out after it. But we sat down, and you were like, and I just had to share that, like, I was like scared. There's a part of me that's like terrified that you're going to find someone better. And there's a part of me that's like, oh, you're going to have this baby, and then some 41-year-old man who's got a thriving business and a brand new car and a house by the water and has all of that sorted and doesn't have any of the drama of that. And he's just going to come in and be like, hey, I can look after you. And that was just like creating such, and that was a whole story that I created, right? That's not real, but I created that, and it only perpetuated and kept the story going of I'm not good enough. So I'm here just telling myself you're not good enough, and here's what's going to happen because you're not. This is going to happen, and that's only going to mean that, yes, you're not good enough. And
which was leading to deeper disconnection between us because you were contracting and I wasn't able to feel you.
Yeah. And like I didn't want to have sex. I didn't want to. I couldn't engage in intimacy because I didn't feel open. I didn't feel available for it.
And I was having moments of really initiating and you know, really bringing myself to you, and then feeling this sense of rejection again and again. Yeah. And when a man doesn't feel good enough, like I know in those moments there is a part of me that rejects you because I can't give you what you need because I don't think I'm good enough to. So like there is that feeling of rejection that is very real for you. But it's not because I want to reject you. It's because I don't know how to give you what you want because the story that is running is like, I'm not good enough. And that, which then is just a spiral. Cause like, you know, the woman wants to be claimed and then you're not feeling good enough to claim. And then it's, well, you're not claiming me, and all these, you know, this back and forth, it's like this cycle.
Totally. And it's not a woman's responsibility. She doesn't have to do anything about this. It's a choice whether or not you want to like bring this texture of love into your relationship and offer it as a way of soothing and healing that part of him that is telling himself he's not worthy.
And deepen into that, like what does that look like? Even like if you want to take us to the place of what unfolded from last week.
I can't really remember exactly how we got to the point where we were having the conversation, but
was it the one in the bedroom during the day?
Yeah.
I don't remember how we got to that place. I remember you being quite closed at the beginning of that conversation, and then you bringing that vulnerability of like, I'm not feeling good enough and things feel hard and all these different things. And there was a moment when I was touching you, or maybe I was like hugging you, and I can't remember the line I said, but I said something like, it could all fucking fail and I'll still be here.
Yeah.
Was it the similar line to that?
Yeah.
It was really, I was just sharing with you, like, I'll be here. I was like, I'll ride with you.
Yeah.
Like basically saying
we're in this together.
Where I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
You know, you could fail, you could fuck up, you could do all of it, you know, and I'm fucking here. I'm fucking here for the ride.
Yes.
And you just broke down.
Yeah, that was a lot.
Yeah.
What story that broke was the idea that when I fail, you'll leave. When I fail, well, then you'll jump ship. And when you said all of those words, like that was like the soothing and the healing energy that that those words were carried with, was just like, oh fuck, all of those things I've been telling myself, that's not actually true. And you didn't say that they weren't true. You just told me the truth. Hey, you could fall flat on your face. You could royally fuck this up and I'm still going to be here. I'm not going anywhere.
It makes me cry.
And like that, to a man that is like that wants to love and do well and like really cares about what he does and wants to do good in the world and make, and make I don't know, make the world a better place. Like to know that if he doesn't do that all in the way, if he fails in that pursuit, sometimes he's not going to be told that he's bad or wrong. He's going to have someone to come home to.
Yeah. And I think, we've been together a decade this year, and I'm sure there's many more. Well, I intend to be with you for decades and decades longer. Of course, there's going to be challenges. No human goes through life without failing. No human goes through life without being initiated by life, being challenged by life. And if you are not, and I'm speaking to the women here, if you are holding your man to this expectation of always succeeding and always being this perfect version of the masculine and always being able to provide and always, right? And you're not actually, and you're withholding love in the moments where he is not that, right? Well, first of all, that's putting conditions on your love. Yes. Right? And this isn't the way to love him even more deeply into his power. That's a disservice. Loving him in that way is a disservice to him, but you and your relationship and your family and the entity of your partnership.
Yeah. It doesn't serve you at all. Like at the end of the day, it's not for a woman, it's not serving your deep desire to be claimed. It does leave you in that position of control. And that doesn't serve either of you, but mostly it doesn't serve you, the deeper desires that exist within your core as well. So, I think that there's such a space for this in the relationship conversation too. After polarity is such a big one, which is so important. It's an important piece of the puzzle, but this, I'm not enough, I'm too much, or I'm not enough from the men and I'm too much from the women. This is a real space where we can learn to love each other home and heal those wounds so we can actually experience polarity at an even deeper level. It's like you can have the surface level polarity, but if you want the depth of polarity, you're going to have to go through these initiations that come from being each other's safe space. And that's devotion.
Everything about that. Yes.
Yeah.
And the foundation of love must be there in order to sustain polarity or continue to play, in the passion and polarity space in a long-term relationship. And that really requires being, like I said before, if you're in a long-term relationship, life is going to happen. Yeah. To your partnership, but also to the individual that you love. Yeah. And how do you love them through that? How are you showing up? Are you making them in those moments or are you breaking them? Are you reminding them that, you're there? Are you reflecting back their motherfucking power? Or are you pointing out without trying to be malicious, but just without even a sense of consciousness, are you pointing out all the ways they're not being enough and not doing enough? My love, if you are a woman that deeply desires to be claimed, cherished, chosen, ravished in partnership, whether you are currently in partnership or not, you are going to want to join me here on the Gold Coast in July. I'm holding an in-person immersion for 3 entire days devoted to breathing down the walls of your heart, opening your body, liberating your expression, and becoming a woman able to be claimed, cherished, and chosen in partnership. I have not run an in-person event or a women-only event in a very long time, and given the baby I'm about to have, I will not for a while after this. So this is a very special opportunity to come and work with me in person with a very intimate amount of women. We are going to go deep. It is going to be an unforgettable 3 days. And if you are feeling the call to join us, come and apply ASAP. There is limited spaces. You're going to want to go to the link in the show notes or meg-o'neill.com/claimed-immersion, or just head to my Instagram. All the information is there. Can't wait to be with you.
Thank you. I'm just realizing how, like, especially this, I don't know, I feel like the last 12 months, like, yeah, that I haven't felt any malice from you. I haven't felt this. And if you have been feeling frustrated or angry, you have spoken into what the rejection that you've been feeling. You've never, you've been so, you've been such an artist. You've been so masterful in loving me and really being devoted to the relationship, the depth of our relationship. And like, that's still crazy to me that you are like this. There's, you know, I do feel a lot better this week, and I'm feeling really open and capable of receiving your love. But there's still a part of me that's like, wow, how lucky am I? Like, yeah, how lucky am I to be on the receiving end of your devotion to love, and how that then allows me to be loved. Because I don't know anyone that hasn't got something that needs healing. I don't know anyone. No, I haven't met anyone yet that doesn't need some kind of tenderness, some kind of compassion, some kind of kindness from their partner or from life. And we get to be that for each other. And I think for so long, I never knew that I needed that. And I thought, oh, once I achieve all these things, then I can have it. Once only can I receive that once I've been through this, and this, and achieved this, and this, and then given this, and this. And I didn't know that I could receive without giving. And that really, really upset the belief of I'm not worthy of this.
Yeah. I think one of the, I'm getting emotional now. One of the greatest gifts you've given me throughout our relationship is, you know, this permission slip to bring my fullness and never, you know, especially in the last 5 or 6 years, as I've been on this conscious path of like unleashing more of myself and unleashing more of my fullness in our relationship in the world. I've never once felt you make me feel too much. Like, you have been this safe place where I get to express that and be that and play with that, right? And come into myself. And that's just been so incredibly healing. And yeah, I know that one of the biggest gifts I'm continuing to offer you, and now you're learning to receive, is, that piece around you're an incredible man. And I'm sure you could speak more to what you feel in that, but just pressing my love into you in those moments where you don't feel like you deserve it. it's such a like really seeing that as like such a sacred role they get to play in your life is like, yeah, the most beautiful thing. Like, I love those moments. Like the other day where you were just like kind of, you do this thing where you cry, where you just like shake because you don't want to fully like me. I'm just like, yes, tears, like break me open. And you like kind of try and hold it and you're crying and you kind of do this shaking thing. And I just got to like, I just had my arms wrapped around you as you did that the other day. And I was just reminding you like, hey, I'm like, fail and I'll be here. Fuck up and I'll be here. And that was just like the most beautiful thing to witness you and have you receive that and co-create that really magnificent moment with you.
It was, you're so right. Like when the tears come for you, you're like, here they are, breakthrough. Whereas for me, I'm like, no, not this. No, anything but this, anything but some sign of weakness.
And I'm sure a lot of men experience that too.
But I don't know, like for me, what it feels like, what I see you getting to experience is like the confirmation that, hey, you are my safe space. Hey, I do feel safe with you. Hey, you do get a part of me that not anyone else gets. And it's like, you are, I'm choosing to open to you because of your fierce devotion, your warrior-like stance when it comes to pressing love into the parts of me that are like, no way. Yeah. And I think you can only run for so long. I think you can only hide for so long until someone, loves you in that way, or something bad happens. Yeah. And I know there's many men who have fucking committed suicide. There's many men that have ended up sick and twisted and bitter to the point where they cannot let go. And I haven't been at either of those doorways by any means, but I can see how men get there. I can see how men choose to commit suicide. I can see how men choose to completely shut their heart off for the rest of their life and choose to choose vices over another partner ever again. And it sucks. And I think that once again, it's not a women's responsibility, but there is a role that women can play in the healing of men's hearts.
I really loved the way you just spoke that, because it's not, I don't want anyone to be listening to this conversation thinking, oh, my job is to...
I'm his healer.
Yeah, I'm his healer, right? Because that's not that's not the energetic of what we're getting at here. It's just that you can be a part of that co-creation. Like you can be a part of that co-creation, and the way you are bringing yourself to him and offering yourself to him, and being in relationship with him can either deepen that wound or it can start to close that wound over, can start to heal that wound. And understanding like that's the responsibility, taking that role, like owning that sacred role. Like I really see that as a sacred role, just as a man's relationship, if he's with a woman, a man's role, if he's in relationship with a woman, part of that sacred role is to create such a depth of safety for her that she can unfurl in her fullness. She can deeply unlock parts of herself that she didn't even realize were there because she didn't feel that safety before. Like that's magnificent. And when a man owns that role, and when a man really takes responsibility for that role in relationship to a woman, the woman he gets to receive, the erotically alive, powerful, full spectrum woman that he gets to be in relationship with is probably blows his fucking mind. And it's the same with us as women when we take that role, like when we really take responsibility for the sacred role we are in getting to be in relationship with our man. We have the sacred role of loving him into more of his power, shining a light on the places where he doesn't think he deserves love, and being so ruthlessly devoted to that. And I'm like, that's something, I love what you shared before around like that almost like warrior energy I have in that. And like even last week, there was like a ruthlessness to how much I was reminding you, like, hey, I'm here. Hey, I'm not fucking going anywhere. And sometimes we've got to bring that ruthlessness.
Yeah, that's fierce love.
Fierce love, ruthless love, yes.
And it's confronting in the right way.
Yeah.
It's like, holy fuck, this woman isn't actually doing the thing that I thought she'd do. I thought she'd run for the hills. I thought she'd leave.
Make me feel
I thought that she'd affirm what I'm feeling, and then give me more reason to almost give me permission to tap out. She can say, she can then give me the reason to close off and go and take the option that isn't fully aligned with the depth that I'm here to experience life with, which is,
yes,
okay, if you do perpetuate that story, I'm not good enough, and you tell me that, I then go and close off even more. I become more riddled with shame and guilt, and I become even more depressed, like literally suppressed emotion. And then our relationship, if not over weeks, months, or maybe a year, it slowly starts to fall apart. And then the relationship falls apart, and then I tell myself, see, I was right. See, I am not good enough for her. See, of course she was going to leave. I'm so right about my unworthiness. Let me keep a hold of that story. Let me keep living that, and let me find someone that can love the parts of me that I like. And then when it comes time for those unworthiness pieces to come online, we'll do the same thing again. And this is why a lot of men can, at times, if you're in early, if you do find yourself circulating through relationships, you will end up getting to the same point in a relationship, and for whatever reason, it will dissolve. Or if you're in a long-term relationship, you'll get to a point where it is no longer a relationship, and it's just a cohabit. You're just cohabiting with another person, and you're just paying the bills, and every now and then there might be a spark, but most of the time you're just inhabiting the same dwelling. And that sucks. And it's not that you don't love each other, it's that you've let that story of I'm not worthy get in the way of like the experience. And that's, and there is a level of responsibility that it falls on both people there.
Completely.
This is quite a deep conversation, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love where this is going.
Yeah, I've got my deep.
Oh, I'm in the same hand position as you do.
Oh, we're the same.
No, we're not. One thing, and I'm sure you're okay with me sharing this, but one thing that comes up just before when you were talking about like my choice to offer you love in that moment versus to make you feel wrong shifts the way, like deeply, I don't know if the word determines is correct here, but it does count as a determining factor in how you then move from that moment as a man in the world.
Correct.
And sometimes I can feel, even I pointed this out to you last week, that when you started to share some of those things going on for you and we were having a really clear conversation or an open conversation, I said to you, hey, I feel this part of you that like is thinking I'm going to like go mad at you like a mum, like going mad, like you've been a naughty boy and I'm going to punish you and I'm going to
yeah.
You just had a physical response then.
Yeah.
And I can feel the part of you that's almost like energetically and physically you close off, but energetically I can feel almost you're bracing for impact. You're bracing for the part of me that's going to, and maybe in the past, I don't feel like I've done this in a very long time, but in the past potentially, and then, maybe as a young child, you experience this too, but in the past, maybe I have, when you've brought those moments, I've made you feel wrong and I've made you feel not good enough. No doubt there have been moments like that. But my choice to, not respond in that way to you is everything.
Yes.
Like everything. And again, I just want to keep using I think it's just going to be so helpful for men and women. Like, it's similar if you were to bring a part of yourself to your man and there's part of you bracing and being like, oh my God, is he going to think I'm too much? Oh my God, this is chaotic or whatever it might be. And then he goes, he loves you in that. He gives you a big hug. He asks how he can support you, whatever it might be. Oh, that gets to heal this story. That gets to literally heal that wound in that moment. And so again, I want women to hear that your choice in those moments on how to meet your man deeply affects then the man you get to receive from that moment forward. Your ability to ruthlessly love him in that moment means you get to experience a version of him. Maybe it's not a second later. Maybe it takes time of really meeting him in this way and offering him this fierce love. But after time, you're going to receive a version of him that maybe you didn't even think was possible. You're going to awaken a version of him, right? Where you get to, when you've shined love on the parts of him he didn't think were lovable. Wow. Like a man that feels more lovable, a man that realizes that there's parts of him that he was ashamed of, but now he doesn't have to be ashamed of. He doesn't hide. That's a man that's going to bring more of himself to you, your children, his work, the world. You get to literally open this man.
You're giving him the capacity for an even deeper level of presence.
Yes.
That's you're gifting him the thing that he is here to gift the world. You're gifting him access to the thing that he is here to gift the world. The more you love those parts of him that he has deemed unlovable, the more whole he will become, which means that in that wholeness, he can bring more of what he's here to give, which is his presence, which is his awareness, his consciousness. And that means that when he's with you just a little bit more. It means when he's with the children, he's with them just a little bit more. It means when he does his work, he's working not from he's got more to give to his work without it changing anything outside of himself. It's all from within.
Yes. One of the things that probably 5 or 6 years ago that I realized that I wanted from you is, and I brought this to you, I said, I want to feel you. Or I think I said, I don't feel you.
I can't feel you.
I can't feel you. And so I realized I wanted to feel you. I wanted to feel your heart. I wanted to feel your aliveness. I wanted to feel what was going on for you. And this is one of the ways, if that's what you crave from your man, if you feel that he, provides for you and his, showing up and he's doing all the things, but you're like, where the fuck are you? I can't feel you. You're beside me, you're doing these things, but I can't fucking feel you. This is one of the ways in which you can support him to be felt, to open, to bring more of himself. Because again, you're shining. A man that is not being felt is a man that's locked down and is feeling some sort of shame.
Yeah.
Some sort of shame for parts of himself, some sort of unworthiness. And again, you get to be a part of being the permission slip to him that, hey, bring it. I love all of you. I'm here for all of you. All of you is welcome in this relationship. Right? Do not hide any part of you because I want it all. Right? I want to feel you. And so this reminder to a man, I know as women, we so deeply yearn for that, to be told all of us is welcome. But I'd love to hear your perspective on that. How has that supported you? And maybe it's not that line, all of you is welcome here, but how do you feel that's, I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm sure you get what I'm getting at.
I think it's more the confirming that the outcome is not what I thought it was going to be. That you confirming that, it's you saying, "Hey, I'm not going anywhere." The core issue, I'm not worthy. The symptom, shame around having a slow month in business, and then feeling like I'm not good enough because I'm not making enough money. I feel like I'm going to never make money again all of a sudden. And everything I'm doing is not working. All of these symptoms, ding, 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 ding. And then the outcome of those symptoms is that I'm going to lose you. because of the core wound, I'm not good enough.
And I just want to bring in a little bit here. I'm not saying like I still had feelings when these things have gone on for you recently. Yeah. I've still had my own feelings around it. Yeah. There's been some of my own anxiety or my own frustration or my own contraction.
Yeah.
But in feeling that, I haven't made you feel wrong.
No.
Well, I hope I haven't. And I think this is the piece where I'm not telling you as a woman that you must, everything your man does, you have to say you are loved in that. I accept every part of you and I accept your behavior. No. But can we be so ruthlessly devoted to seeing where we're punishing him when something isn't going right, or we're making him feel like he's fucked up or he's been a naughty little boy, right? Because we can do both. We can have our feelings of like, if, for example, if it's money, you know, maybe your partner's business is slowing down, or he made a decision that has created some kind of financial stress, right? You can still have that sense of like, wow, I feel a bit unsafe in this, and all these things are coming up for me around like, how are we going to do this? And am I going to have to miss out on this? And what decisions are we going to have to make? You can bring all of that's going on for you, and you can do it without making him feel like you fucked up.
Yes.
And then now I'm going to withhold love from you. Right?
Yes.
And I just think that's such an important piece that you still, your emotions, what's arising for you from any situation in the relationship is so still welcome. And you can always do that without making your partner feel like they've fucked up or they're wrong or they did something bad.
Yeah.
Or they're not doing enough.
Yeah. And like I said, for me, it was the fact that like you acknowledging, hey, even if you do fuck up, even if you do fail, even if you do make a silly choice or you overreach in an area and you think it's, you know, there's been so many ways that I've thought, oh, I'm so stupid for wanting this. Why did I want to do this or grow in this way? Why did I think I could do that? And then it's not that, it's that, it's not that I did it, it's that, I might lose you or you might leave. And it's you being able to identify that and be like, hey, I'm not going anywhere. Like it literally, all of those other things start to like quieten down. And the wound of like, it doesn't matter how much money I make. It doesn't matter how big our house is. It doesn't matter what sort of car we drive. What car's in the driveway. It doesn't matter how many holidays we go on. Like none of that actually determines why you're with me. You are with me because you love me, and that's enough. And I'm like, I didn't realize that. And that's not to say that I can then sit there and do fucking nothing. Right? I don't just sit on the couch and eat fucking chips. I let that love crack me open. I don't use it as a kind of a way to be like, oh, cool, I'm off the hook.
And I feel I've been having lots of conversations with clients and students recently about this, that there's this piece in women that feel like, oh, but if I love him through this, he might think this is okay. He might become complacent and just sit on the couch and, you know, do whatever. Or he might continue to take risks or make decisions that don't feel safe for me or whatever it might be. And you know, that this is why some women feel like, oh no, I need to point out all the things he's doing wrong. I need to point out where he's not being enough so he can see where I want him to go. But again, through this conversation, we've realized you hold your man in this feeling of not being enough or not good enough when you're devoted to pointing out everything you feel like he's not being and doing enough of. And that isn't a powerful place for a man to rise. A man will not step up from that place. That's going to hold a man where he is.
And he will most likely, like what I found was like I acknowledged, I was like, I have been really struggling. I haven't been, like I haven't got the structure in place that I need for what I need next. Like it was through you loving me and accepting me in it that those things were accepted. Like by myself, you didn't have to tell me what was wrong. I got to be like, okay, cool. Like I need this and I need this and I need this. Like I haven't been performing here and here. All right. Why? Because I'm pushing and I'm forcing and I need to actually take time for myself. Oh, but that's yeah, but you know that when you take time for yourself, Jacob, you actually cultivate the power to then step back in with a fresh set of eyes, and you're able to overcome this. And okay, you need to get on the phone and talk to this person. Okay, you need to have this conversation. Okay, you need to sort this out. Okay, you might need to ask for support in this way. You might need to sort out this. You might need to get a loan. You might need to pay this off first. You might need to sell this. It's like you become so much more resourceful when you know that you're already enough.
Yes.
A man that knows he's enough and is loved back to that by a woman who sees the true wound that he's wrestling with of I'm not enough, therefore I can't have what I want, or I'm not worthy of having it all. Like you literally create a resourceful man.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing is like, yeah, if I was to fail spectacularly and end up, you know, with nothing and have to and have to pay debt, and it's like, cool, all right, we sell everything and we start again. We sell everything and we live within our means and we start again. Well, and my head thing is like, I move out and I go and hide in a fucking cave and you keep everything, and I never look at you ever again, and I don't ever want to see you again because of the shame. And it's like, I think a lot of men, not deep down, but on the surface, when this shame kicks in and this I'm not enough, I think there's a part of a lot of men that kind of want to be kicked and kind of want to be kicked out and have that story affirmed so they can play the victim. You're literally like with this fierce love and giving so generously to that part of him that doesn't feel worthy. You're literally giving him you're giving the victim nothing to stand on.
Oof.
And that, like, if a man can't be a victim, then he has to realize that, like, he is the one that can do it. Like, if there's no place for the victim to stand, like, the only other option is to fucking win. The only other option is to rise, like, realistically. And that's a deep one for me. Yeah. Fuck. That's cool. I just realized that it's like, yeah, when you love that part of me, it now no longer gives the victim any energy. And when that archetype is removed, I have to be with what's there.
Yeah.
And when I be with what's there, I then can take full responsibility for my life.
Yes. And that's, again, when we say you have the ability to either make or break your man, or like, you know, help him rise into, you know, his king energy, or rise into his power, or squash it. It's these kind of moments, right? Are you, you know, pointing out when he is feeling that way, pointing out all the things he's done wrong, or are you helping him be like, you're a resourceful motherfucker, you've got this, I believe in you. And I really want to speak into this as well, that even if, you know, we were taking an example or a moment where you were really in it.
Yeah.
And you also brought, or I could see it and I was, you know, coming to you, but then you also brought this to me as well. But I also want to talk about how a woman can just, like, even if a man isn't like under a lot of stress right now or isn't feeling that way, but how she can also just like take into consideration that not good enough wound, or like, yeah, not enough wound. And how can she begin to really support her man in that, or hold her man in that? And one of the things for me that I really teach, and I really hope I practice in our relationship, is acknowledgement. And I think this is so powerful for a man to receive. It's like acknowledging where he is enough.
Yes.
Right? Can you acknowledge and just reflect back, like, I see all you're doing? Because again, sometimes we as women can be like, we don't acknowledge, and we're like, hey, but you haven't taken me on the date, and you're not doing this, and you're not doing that, and you're not being like this. Again, it doesn't mean we have to push those desires down, but can we actually really acknowledge and get into this practice of being a woman that acknowledges her man like every fucking day? Like, and reflects back to him every fucking day. Like, I see you. I see the work you've been doing. And, you know, sometimes you'll just be like going into your office and I'll be like, hey, I see you working really fucking hard, and I feel really supported by you. Or, hey, I'm just like, you're such a fucking visionary and I'm so proud of all that you're creating. And just like these pieces of acknowledgement where you can offer them your man this moment of like, hey, I see you, and what you're doing is acknowledged, and it is enough.
Thank you. It's like it's a form of like what I'm hearing in that, and like what I receive from you is like, I'm grateful. I'm grateful for what you do, and I know that you're doing it for not just yourself. You're doing it for us.
Yeah.
And when you say those things, it's so. And that is like the other side of when the worthiness, when the wound is really flared up, you don't list off all the things of like why they're worthy. You're like, no, listen, you're wrong. It's like, hey, like, I'm not going to leave. Like you address what's there. But then when the worthiness wound isn't sort of flared up, and there's ways to kind of cultivate and support him in maintaining the story that he is enough, which is the true story, you offer your gratitude, you reflect back the things that you see in him that he may not realize you're seeing. And that has him feeling deeply understood, and that has him being like, oh, she understands the deeper why.
Yeah.
And the deeper for what, it's why am I doing this? But for what am I doing it? I'm doing it for you, for me, for our family, for the greater vision. I'm doing this for the world. I want the world to be a better place. I can feel that. And I think a lot of men can at times feel guilty for wanting to lead and serve in a greater way. And well, I know I can. And when you get behind me and like breathe, literally like breathe life into me with gratitude, it's like, oh, you've got my back. And I think there's the bit of stigma around a woman supporting her man because it seems as though she's like the one behind him, or she's the one that's not as prominent in the relationship, or she has to play small for him to be grand. But that's not the truth. It's not the way. Like the way that I see it is that you are able to like play that role in my life, but that's not the only role you play. You also stand there and I support you, and we support each other by playing those roles appropriately.
And I really, if there's one thing, you take from this episode, I want it to be that as a woman, that are you acknowledging and honoring the sacred role you play in your man's life of supporting him, of, helping him step up into deeper and deeper layers of his power, of reminding him what a bad motherfucker he is. Like, are you owning that role? And then how are you doing at that role right now?
Yeah.
Because a lot of the time we're not even realizing that's a role we get to play. For years, I wasn't conscious of that role. And now it's something that I'm like, I'm devoted to. It's a devotional practice for me. Just like being a businesswoman is a devotional practice. I show up and I be a businesswoman. I create, I do these things. It's like, how am I going at being this, playing this sacred role in my marriage, in my relationship?
I reckon you're doing pretty well.
Thank you.
You're doing amazing. And it's a journey, right? I think that, to temper all of this and sort of wrap this up, it's like it's a journey. It's not about getting it right all the time, but it's about working on it. It's about developing this skill, or developing the comfortability in this role that we're playing for each other. Especially like speaking to the men, like you've got to develop the awareness of this not enough wound. Just like women have like, I know that I feel like I'm too much, and I want to work out how to not feel this, or not feel this, but more so move through this. And same with men. It's like, this means I have to be held by the feminine can't hold the masculine. Well, we live on a thing called Mother Earth, dickheads. Like, you are going to be held by her. Like, where do you think you come from? You come from a womb. Shut the fuck up. Like, we have to, and I'm saying this to myself, but like, we have to reconcile that we come from the feminine, and we are here to honor the feminine. And part of that is letting her hold us as we remember our wholeness. And you have a responsibility, a sacred responsibility to lean into that, men. And on the other side, women, like, you have such a beautiful, beautiful opportunity to create some of the most powerful, open-hearted, willing, compassionate, tender, kind, loving husbands, fathers, brothers, sons that this world has ever seen. should you choose to take on that responsibility and lean in with that fierce warrior like love.
Oh, that last piece you just shared around like, yeah, that this just isn't about, oh, I'm loving him in this moment, or like not even like, sometimes we can focus this conversation on, I want to love him so he's better for me.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's part of it. Like if you learn to love your man in this way, you will get to experience a version of him that maybe you didn't even know was possible, or a version of him that you were aching for. And this is so beyond that. It's like, what kind of father is this? Is a well-loved man? What kind of partner is a well-loved man? What kind of member of our community is a well-loved man? What kind of leader is a well-loved man? Like, you know, what lineage is a well-loved man? What legacy is he leaving on the planet? Like, you know, that's again, this is like union and co-creation, and we get to be a part of that. What a gift. What a gift. What a gift. What a gift.
Totally. It starts with us, but it's so much bigger than us. I think that's such a beautiful way to look at it. Like, it starts with us. It starts with how we choose to step into these moments, and then when we do, we realize that this is in service to something so much greater than what's just here.
Yes.
But it has to start here. It has to start here in the present moment with what's actually alive. And that's what a relationship requires, my friends.
Yes. Okay, anything else you want to add?
I'm just really grateful for this conversation. And I think there's like such a... Like, I also just want to honor anyone that's going through it. Like whether it's a woman that's learning this role and deepening into it, or if it's a man that's really struggling with his worthiness wound. And I just want to acknowledge that, like, these things do require time and process. But if you are willing to be with it, you will move through it. And you can retract and go back into whatever is safe for you. But there will come a time where you have to face off with it. And like, I just want you to know that it's safe to do that. It's safe to fuck up. It's safe to make silly mistakes, whether that's in business, whether that's in relationship, whether that's in your own personal practice. It's safe to make mistakes, and it's safe to be loved when you have made those mistakes. And it is safe for you to then do something about those mistakes from a place of wholeness, not from a place of I need to never do that again, more so from a place of, even if that happens, I'm still loved. Well, of course I'm going to go back and learn how to do it better. Of course I'm going to engage from a deeper place of awareness now. I'm going to go out and continue to offer more and give more and really learn how to receive more, so I don't have to wait for these initiations to come to me. I can continue leaning into them. So yeah, I just really want to love up on the people that are in it, because I know it can feel like there's no way out. And even if it feels like nothing's working, it really is that's the flavor of initiation. It's here to really, really deconstruct your identity and deconstruct who you thought you were, really to reveal what's beneath that, which is an even deeper, truer, more resourceful and powerful version of yourself. So keep on going. I see you, and I really appreciate the work that everyone does, especially you, my love, and the women that you're creating. You're not creating them. You're creating. Yeah, you are. The women that you are supporting in deepening into these roles that are going to, serve men on such a deep level.
Well, I'm so excited about what I'm creating right now. And for any woman that has loved this conversation and really wants to own this sacred role of evoking the best from a man and loving a man in this fierce, ruthless, warrior-esque way, I'm running a course or launching a course right now called The Art of Loving a Man. And I truly have, this feels so sacred, this course. It feels like such a gift I get to offer women. And then, the ripple is into men and our planet. And yeah, I'm really fucking excited about it. If you are listening to this before the 27th of June, you've got time to jump inside with us. Link will be in the show notes here. It's 4 weeks where it's going to be live. So there's 6 calls over 4 weeks. There's going to be Q&As with Jacob.
Oh yeah, I'm coming
Q&A
in, yeah.
with Jacob, and then 4
teaching calls. We've got to work out what day I'm coming. Yeah, we've got to work that out.
And yeah, it's just going to be powerful powerful. I've just launched it and there's 20 women inside already. So this is going to be a movement of women ready to really own this sacred role. So please fucking come and join us. Yeah, link is in the show notes, or just come and find me on Instagram.
This is your work, my love.
I really feel that.
Yeah, this is like, I feel your power in it, and I'm living proof. I'm living proof that,
well loved, man.
Yeah, that is.
And I want to acknowledge I wasn't always good at this. This is something that I wasn't just born knowing how to love men really well. Like, this is something that I've learned this art form, and I've been devoted to this art form for, the last five years.
Yeah, this has been a journey.
I fuck this art form up sometimes.
And this isn't about being you've played the mother role, you've played the I'm his coach role, you've played all these different things, and none of them fit. None of them fit. This is a sacred role that is bestowed upon your lover, man. Like, this is a sacred role that you get to play as lover. This isn't about being his mother or any of those other bullshit. This is a sacred role, and it comes from a devotion to love. So,
well, I say that in some of the marketing for this course, like, goodbye being his coach or mother, like, hello, evoking the best from him. Or goodbye coaching him, hello, evoking the best from him.
Yes.
Which is, we as women, I often say, are like the torch bearers for relationships. So we can see where we want our men to go and the relationship to go, and sometimes they can't see it yet. And sometimes we think the only way to do that is to coach them there or mother them there, but there is another way.
Yes.
And I want to teach you that other way. So come play.
Let's go.
Thanks, my man. This was, such a beautiful conversation.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I'm learning so much about myself. Thank you. And
I love you. Our baby was kicking heaps during that too.
I cannot wait to meet that baby so much.
Me neither. Okay, love you.
Love you guys.
We'll see you soon.
Peace.